Ahead on American Sunrise, was another presidential assassination attempt thwarted? There was a hunting stand reportedly found near the Palm Beach International Airport with a clear sight line to where President Trump exits Air Force One. We're going to have the details this morning. Plus, is the ceasefire on the brink of collapse this morning? Israel accusing Hamas of breaking the tenuous peace deal, and they launched airstrikes into Gaza. We have expert analysis throughout the show. And later, no end in sight, the Schumer shutdown continues as leftists hold their No Kings protest over the weekend. Florida Congressman Randy Fine joining us in minutes to respond to that and a whole lot more. We're getting ready on a Monday morning edition of American Sunrise. We're starting right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Good Monday morning to you, and thanks so much for starting the work week with us here on American Sunrise. I'm Terrence Bates, coming to you from our Denver newsroom. Let's bring in Emily Finn. She's in our West Palm studios, in for Dr. Gina this morning. And of course, the one, the only, the man of the hour, David Brody in Washington, D.C. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Terrence. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Do you guys like the energy there? Like our guys in the control room were like, come on, Terrence, bring the energy. And so I kind of had to summon some of it up on this Monday.
You definitely had your coffee this morning, Terrence. That was a lot of energy. Great way to start the show.
Yeah, I finished the cup. A little spilled out there, but I finished most of the cup. Hey, guys, look, there's a lot to talk about. David, you just teased that we're going to have Congressman Randy Fine of Florida on. I want to bring your attention to this, just the news headline. Hunting stand was sightlined to Trump's Air Force One exit area found at airport. The FBI is investigating. That airport, of course, is in Florida. The FBI is taking the lead on this particular investigation. And it's just another kind of concerning headline on this Monday morning in terms of security for the commander-in-chief. One would think that if there were something like this, it would have been found long before now, not just now. David.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is we're getting word that this hunting stand, which by the way can be a regular occurrence, obviously, hunting stands in the woods, if you will. I mean, that's kind of normal. But by the airport, I say by the airport, it was kind of, near the grounds, by the grounds. It wasn't like on the tarmac there, obviously. And so we're just trying to get a little bit more detail. And Cash Patel, Emily, should be giving us more, hopefully later today.
Yeah, awaiting some more details on this. I mean, I think it's just scary that it was pointed directly where his plane usually is. Hard to justify that was for any other reason. I think we're going to have some more details about what happened with all of this.
Yeah, we definitely need some more information. And one would think, and not that this necessarily isn't the case, but one would think that there would be pretty occasional sweeps of the general area that something like this would have been found beforehand. Right. Of course, it could have just been put up before. It could be some recent occurrence, but it's still something of concern. And so we'll continue to cover this story for you. We'll even talk to Congressman Fine about that momentarily. First, though, let's get a quick check of today's Bible verse. I get the honor. I'm excited about this. We want to take you to 1 John 1:7. It reads, "But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, his son, cleanses us from all sin." Amen. All right, we want to turn now from the Holy Book to the Holy Land. Israel is accusing Hamas of violating the ceasefire agreement and in response, launching new strikes. Israel says Hamas has carried out attacks beyond the line that Israel withdrew to. The Hamas attacks reportedly consisted of RPG and sniper fire. President Trump also responding to all of this, speaking on Hamas laying down their weapons. Here's some of what he had to say.
Do you believe they really will disarm?
Well, they promised they would. They said they would. It's down that they would. Now, they said they were gang members, et cetera, But these are very violent people. This is a very violent part of the world. Nobody's seen violence like this. If we have to, we'll disarm
The
them.
U.S.
Well, whether it's me or the U.S. or it's, a proxy, could be Israel with our backing. We won't have boots on the ground. There's no reason to.
Let's get some reaction to what you just heard. Florida Congressman Randy Fine, as we said earlier, joining us now. Congressman, welcome to the show. It is good to see you. Let's just get right down to business. We'll talk about the Florida situation momentarily, but I'd love to get your reaction to what you just heard from President Trump in terms of potentially disarming Hamas, be it the United States or, in his words, a proxy.
Well, look, that was part of the deal that President Trump miraculously got signed. And to me, the most important part of the deal happened. The 20 living hostages came home. Now, not surprisingly, Hamas does not intend to honor the deal. They've violated that line they agreed to multiple times. They've killed dozens and dozens of their own people, Palestinians. And then yesterday, they attacked and killed 2 IDF soldiers. So we'll have to see whether they actually are willing to disarm, but hopefully the same people that brought them to heel to release the hostages will be able to make that happen.
What's frustrating here is that, Hamas is not going to disarm, obviously. Hamas is going to be the instigator in all of this. They don't want any of this to begin with. And it just makes me go back to 3 words: finish the job. And, it's hard when Israel has one hand tied behind its back and you've got all this world pressure. But the truth of the matter is they ain't ever going away. And I'm sorry, and I'm usually a pretty positive guy, but not in this situation. I think I think they've got to finish the job. And if they do finish the job, what does that look like exactly? And how can they carry that out when you've got basically so much of the world against them?
Well, your skepticism is justified. Look, Hamas has always said they want to reload, reboot, and then launch another October 7th. And their behavior since signing the deal shows that in every way except that they released the living hostages. Now, the same people who put pressure on them to do that need to put pressure on them to finish the deal. Will they disarm? I don't know, but President Trump has made it clear they will be disarmed one way or another. And what everyone can feel good about is without the leverage of those living hostages, Israel has a much freer hand to do what they need to do. I think one thing that is important is I don't think this will require the United States to be sending boots on the ground. I think Israel has shown the ability to handle its own issues, but that's what they're going to do now.
Congressman, I do want to switch gears here for a moment with you and get your reaction to Majority Leader Thune's recent post on X. He writes, "I'm not sure how much clearer I can be, but let me give it a try. I'm willing to sit down with Democrats to discuss the growing unaffordability and unsustainability of Obamacare. It's a system they created, and I'm happy to hear them out. Heck, I'm even willing to give them a vote. Today, tomorrow, next week, you name it. But there's one condition: end the Schumer shutdown. I will not negotiate under hostage conditions, nor will I pay a ransom, period." Your reaction, Congressman?
Well, I think the problem is that Democrats' policies are so bad and so unpopular that they can't afford having it put before an open vote. They're demanding in the dead of night some sort of sneaky compromise be done that adds $1.5 trillion to the debt to give free health care to illegal immigrants. Now, if they want to stand up and have a debate about whether we should still be in a COVID pandemic or how unaffordable the Unaffordable Care Act is, let's have that debate. But you do that when the lights are on, the heat is on, the public can be involved, and the government is open. And so Leader Thune is 100% right. The Democrats need to come back to work, stop being ridiculous, and get the government open.
Congressman, I've got a multi-part question for you. The first part is, how long do you think this shutdown is ultimately going to continue? Now that we're through the whole No Kings protest, do you think Democrats are going to come to the table and hopefully come to their senses? That's the first part. The second part would involve you and your Republican colleagues. Is there conversation about potentially coming back to Washington, D.C. to start working on the actual appropriations bills or an appropriations plan, even in spite of the shutdown, so whenever it does end, you're at the table and already ready to go? Because at this point, it looks like you're going to be on a limited timeline if, in fact, the government does reopen before that November 21st deadline. I think November 21st is the date of the continuing resolution, if, in fact, it were ever to pass.
These are great questions. So in terms of how long I think this is going to go on, I don't know. I mean, look, we don't need the Democrats to come to their senses. We need 5 Democrats to come to their senses. We need 10% of the Democrats in the Senate to come to their senses and join all of the Republicans and vote to reopen the government. Hopefully that will happen soon, but their determination to give free healthcare to illegal immigrants is very intense because they know they can't do this in the light of day. And so I don't know. I mean, I will tell you that plans that I have had over the next 3 and 4 weeks have already been canceled. So unfortunately, a lot of people aren't optimistic, but I hope it happens soon. And the way that we fix that is people who are watching your show who live in states that have Democratic senators need to call those Democratic senators and tell them to reopen the government. As it relates to the second part of your question, the appropriations bill, I do believe that the appropriators led by Chairman Tom Cole are working behind the scenes to figure out how we get the final budget done. But your point is a good one. We only wanted 7 more weeks to have a little bit more time to finish the regular appropriations process, and the Democrats took that away. So I do think there is a challenge with how little time there will be left, even after they do the right thing, if they ever do the right thing.
Congressman, I'm curious on the shutdown, just one last follow-up. Who's going to blink first? You know, Republicans typically have blinked in the past, and I'm assuming Democrats are counting on that. But I've never seen, and you tell me, I've never seen such cohesion by the Republicans in something like this. Do you see any cracks in the armor whatsoever here?
I don't, and you have to think of it in the numbers. In order to reopen the government, 5 Democratic senators need to do the right thing. In order to adhere to their demands, all of the Republicans would have to fall over and say, we want free health care for illegal immigrants. That's never going to happen. So we need the Democrats to come to their senses, realize we are never going to agree to spend $200 billion on their fetish for illegal immigrants, and they need to go and reopen the government.
Congressman, 15, 20 seconds. Your thoughts on this hunting stand that was found near the airport where Air Force One lands there in Florida. Do you have any more information for us? What kind of heads up have you gotten?
I don't have any details other than what I've seen in the media. It is disconcerting that there could be something like that. The good news is it was discovered, and I have every confidence that Director Patel will get to the bottom of it. Who knows? Maybe it was just some hunting stand used for hunting. It is possible that it wasn't for any sort of nefarious purpose. But at this point, we just don't know. I'm glad they found it, and I'm glad they're looking into it.
And we'll leave it there. Congressman, thanks so much for your time on this Monday morning. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Always a pleasure. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the top headlines from our RAV newsroom. That would be me right here. And then later, the Trump administration has conducted several strikes on Venezuelan boats reportedly carrying drugs. So what does this mean for Central America in general? We'll take a look. That's right after the break.